Hello, it's Mike Rasmussen, CPA Straight Talk for Small Business. And I'm coming to you from a little different environment here. I have redone the area, got a new desk and everything. And so anyway, I just thought I would share that with you a little bit. Obviously, there is a bunch going on out there, primarily having to do with what the executive orders that President Trump signed, which were four of them, and that would happen on Saturday. And what now is all the interpretations or struggling, everyone's struggling right now with how to interpret those and react with those. And obviously, one of the sites that you'll want to go to is the state, your local state. You want to make sure that you're going there to find out how they're going to react with the executive order, especially how it coincides with the federal pandemic, the $600, which is now reduced down to $400, because the $400, just in brief, the states had to kick in $100 to even get the remaining $300 from the feds. So, not to be confusing, the states are now going through and updating their websites on exactly how to deal with the executive order that happened on Saturday. Okay. So, and as well, there are additional talks going on of if there will be more additions to not just the four executive orders. And so, as example, the economic stimulus, the $1,200 stimulus payments, that's actually happening right now to see if that's going to come out. So there are other originally introduced in the HEROES Act from the House. There are other topics and proposals that are like state and local city budgets. There are obviously the $1,200 economic stimulus and the $500 for dependent. So there are other topics that are happening right now. I don't have anything to report to you because you know me. It is what we are going to do is when they go and they are enacted and actually voted on, and we can go to congress.gov, or we can see them. Well, let me just start sharing my screen so I can show you. So, or that we can actually show you on irs.gov, or here we go. So I am showing you my screen right here, which is, let's see. So the first thing I want to go to is I want to show you, let's see. Let's go to basically the SBA, which is sba.gov, and that's to see if anything else is going on out there, okay? That was introduced. Now, one of the things that happened earlier as of Saturday is the PPP, the Paycheck Protection Program, closed, as we can see. And the guidance that was out there was for the lenders. And I wanted to point something to you from that document. So if you wanted to read it, you could actually go in here and download this, which is what I've done for us here. These are the actual questions. And my theme to today is digital signatures, okay? Digital signatures, which are being accepted and more accepted out there, not only for credit cards and for loans in the banking industry, the credit card industry, the IRS, the SBA. So digital signatures. So I dove into this new one of the questions here that was given, and the question and out of 10 pages on the frequently asked questions that was posted here from the SBA, and it says, can PPP lenders use scanned copies of documents, e-signatures, or e-consents for loan forgiveness applications and loan forgiveness documentation? And the answer is yes. All PPP lenders may accept scanned copies of signed loan forgiveness applications and documents containing the information and certifications required by SBA Form 3508, which is the long form, or 3508EZ, which is the shorter form, okay? Self-employed and what? Lenders may accept any form of e-consent or e-signature that complies with the requirements of the electronic signatures in global and national Commerce Act. Wow. Okay. So that act right now that I had, let me, in fact, I'm pulling it up on another screen to basically bring it up to you. So that is the EC, electronic signature and in Global National Commerce Act. Okay, so I'm just going to bring it up. Simple, fast. Let's see, June 30 of 2000, and let's see, there was a who states elect. Let's go to global master. I'm going to go to the .gov. So here, let me bring this up to you right here. And so this is the Electronic Signatures and Global and National Commerce Act, which I wanted to show you. So here is, if it applies here, and this e-sign act, signed into law June 30 of 2000. Okay, this was way back when, not 2020. This has been around for quite a while. Okay, so that's what this in the SBA. The SBA is referring to a public law way back in well, gosh, in the year 2000. Okay, and here is record retention. Now, examination. I was hoping that I would see something that would be updated. So I'm going to provide. I'm going to find. And look in the future to see if there's are any other out there as far as digital records. Now there is, like, if there's any update to this, which I'm sure hoping that there's going to be. So then the other is I went into payments.com. This is a regarding the credit card merchant processing industry. So here is a little bit about digital signatures to keep with the theme. And here, quote from this article that was at payments.com. The pandemic has broken the inertia connected with conducting business mostly in the physical world, activating the transition, and I'm just checking another site over here, okay, to a mostly digital first way of life. So consumers who have made the shift will need an equally formidable force to move them completely away from the digital habits they have developed. And instant disbursements can help firms close the payout choice gap as COVID-19 accelerates the shift toward digital commerce. So here are how people have changed. So we've got 12,000 minimum number of physical retail establishments that have permanently closed, physical retail so far in 2020. That's amazing. 371 number of days before the typical US consumer will be comfortably fully engaging in the physical world. That's over a year. So that's per this article, 371 days. 104 million, approximate count of Americans who have become digital shifters. 38% portion of micro businesses that have permanent payment choice for insurance, lending, and product-related payment. So now, other businesses, it is now going micro businesses, electronic payments, 38%. So that basically your payment of choice for, here we go, insurance, lending, and product-related payments. So that is increasing to go digital, which is credit card. And then 20% minimum share of consumers who would be more likely to keep doing business with payers who allowed them to use voice commands. So voice commands are coming, okay? So the pandemic has broken the inertia connected with conducting business mostly in the physical world. So this was just the data. So I say this to bring you closer here, is to say that digital signatures and digital in the world, it's basically 371 days before it becomes a habit. You've heard of 21 days to break a habit. Well, to go digital, and there's more opportunities with where you're normally engaging in payments that you're going to be able to go digitally. Here is the IRS that I wanted to talk to you about, and they actually have a digital certificate for a public, this IRS public key. The FATCA that they're talking about is the Foreign Account Tax Compliant Act, because you have to file certain signatures by filing this form. Most people aren't going to do that, but this public key, and here are the authorities that they're allowing. So we go from what is allowed and where can you sign digital signatures. So one of the ones I just wanted to take you to was here was just, one called GoDaddy, okay? And here's just again, here are the certified that they offer, but you can actually go to GoDaddy and have it'll pop you up to the site here and take you to and again, I'm not promoting one, but here's the highest level of authenticity. Pair your business name with an EV and website receiving are those that have been seriously vetted. That means once domain ownership is established and your business identity, legal status, and addresses are varied. Then you get this secure padlock icon in your browser. That's what I wanted to show over there. Then you get in your address bar and company name highlight in green. See that? That's what we're talking about. So I always look for that secure padlock icon in the browser. Okay. All right. So that is the IRS. This was just a little bit about payments.com. So when I go to sites like this, remember this is the PPP forgiveness tool that's out there. I look for the little secure icon to make sure that all of these are, the sites are at the highest security. Okay. All right. So at your will, this electronic signature and global and National Commerce Act, e-sign Act, just wanted to make you guys available, make you aware. But again, it's been around for almost 20 years now. And I am sure there's been some updates, which I'll look for, but for right now, that's what the compliance is, okay? So when we're looking at how do we apply for PPP loans and how do we, what platforms, one of the first things that when you start signing documents out there, when you start signing, you want to make sure that you're signing them in and they will be accepted by the organization that you're signing. So one of the things that I'm looking for, if I'm on a certain platform like the SBA to an application or your bank or the IRS or Department of Labor, so, anybody that's taking your signature, you want to make sure that if you do sign it, they will eventually accept it, okay? There are times when that sometimes a law like this comes out or guidance, in this case with the SBA, and then a bank may come back to you and say, no, we can't accept scan. You may have to then point them to these frequently asked questions, PPP loan forgiveness here, that was out on August, that came out so that you can actually help, because we're all in this together. So on August 4th, when this came out, you may, if you have scanned documents and you're relying on this, that you might want to bring this or at least be able to point to this note. That's another reason why we walk through these. So here is at least for the SBA. As far as the IRS went, you might, as far as e-filing and how mostly your tax preparer is going to do that, but just knowing that it is available. And if you have to file other documents with other organizations online, you just want to make sure that you're not only signing it with the highest, but the organization is going to take either scanned documents or e-signed. And then, of course, it's always great to refer back to where does it all start? The electronic signatures, the Global National Commerce Act, the e-sign Act is how they say it, okay? All right, so back to, I want to do just a real quick, this was something for your diary, which is, and I go to Axios for this, it's just got the best chart, but here is the states with mandates for mask wearing in public, okay? So as you can see that even right here in Arkansas, I know that this came out the mid-July, and how are all of these being enforced? How does this also affect you as your small business? Well, if there are, if people are having to wear masks out there in the community right now, and you're seeing people not wearing, there's just that initial hesitancy to even go out. So like our state right here, this is, if you don't even have a mask and you're out driving around and you want to go to a store, which happened to me the other day, how are you going to get in that store if your mask is at home? So one of the things I wanted to bring up right here is basically make sure that you got your mask and carry extra ones around the car when you're traveling. Okay, and then in addition, although this is August 4th, anytime there's an update on the for your diary on what how you're doing, how your business is complying with all the rules that are out there that are mandated by the states. So you want to make sure that you are. Secondly, is make sure that you're going to the state website. Make sure that you're going to for example, the Arkansas. Everybody has a unemployment state office, if you will, and then you'll be able to go get documentation. So for example, I'm going to jump on right here. Let me just go to the Arkansas Department of Finance and show you, at least for ours anyway. And let's just go to our website right here. And there we go. And this is ours. So basically, you would want to, what can I help you find with? I want to basically find unemployment and what DFA's unemployment agency. I want to actually find what happened with is there anything that's in there that relates to with what's going on right now with the pandemic. So I'm going to unemployment, I'm going to go executive order and see if there is anything on the site. So this is a personal, but that doesn't relate to the latest. So when I go to the site, I want to make sure that I am going to find something that has to do with anything that where I would actually apply for unemployment and how it affects the here's the online, and this is the access point for at least the state of Arkansas. So this is a portal that if you're an employer, you go to, and inside here, you're going to be able to find out how your business applies to the federal unemployment that's out there. Okay, one of the other final that I want to talk to is I want to go to the SBA, and let's go back to the EIDL. There has been, I just want to say that is still available out there, and this is the 30-year 3.75%, 3.75% payment due within a year, and this is where you actually would actually apply. So even though you're hearing about this is one program that is still available right now. Although they're modifying the Paycheck Protection Program, this EIDL is still available. You walk in here, you come to the site, you hit apply right here, and then you start filling out the documentation. Again, this is truly a loan, but we're not waiting anything on the program out there. If there's another a CARES Act 2.0, if you will. So this right here is still out there and available. Okay, so you can walk through and you can do that. So what a lot of people are doing specifically is right here, and at the end, the digital signature, you're able to just click and sign, print your name, and it works. So a lot of small business owners are going ahead to file this and go through the process. You'll receive an email, go through the process, and have the money just sit in the bank. Just have the money sit there, and if you need it, you'll then be able to possibly draw. If you don't need it as you're working through this pandemic, because as we move into more, what's going to happen when, when it starts becoming not summer, when we move past summer and we come into fall and then we come into winter, if the pandemic really kind of heightens again, you may need those monies to restart a restaurant, for example, on food, or or any type of expenses. Remember, we talked about yesterday about your revenue stream. So as you're looking at, you're going to have dips and fluctuations. And when I talk to you about, make sure you've got your P&L up to date from April, May, June, July, during this pandemic, and by the 4 revenue streams, well, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm talking possibly takeout and delivery and dine-in and maybe parties that you're catering that you do. You're looking at, although those are restaurant related, they can relate to any small business. So what you want to have in place is you want to have programs in place, and what that would be, not only programs, but you might need capital or money in place to be able to react appropriately to as the business environment changes. So at the end of this one is a digital signature for you that you can, and obviously it's on a secure site right here, which is got the little padlock. I would individuals, I would consult your business partners, your advisors about going through the process, but it's not taking 2 to 5 to 10 days to go ahead and go through this process and have the money show up in the bank. And there are still funds out there. So strong consideration here. You can see the expiration date for this is 9/30 of 2020. So we are right on target, or it's still available, and they have not stopped it as of this point. Okay. All right. Let's see. I want to just talk to you. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen. So let me talk to you for just a second about what's coming this week. What is coming this week is organizations interpreting the executive orders that happened with Donald Trump, the president, on Saturday, which primarily related to the unemployment, which then said we're going to get, the White House, the government is going to get aggressive and supplement what the state unemployment benefits are. Now, no doubt, you need to go to the your state unemployment and find out how they are reacting to the executive order on Saturday. That's the biggest one. The other one is student loan interest was not only reduced down to 0, but the payments were on hold until further notice. Okay, so and then the final one is that you want to that as far as the rent goes and to your tenants. Now, I can tell you there's a lot of interpretation happening right now. I would just pause on that one till we get maybe a few more, a little bit more guidance on it. But I'm just checking other screens as we kind of go through the show here. So, but those 4 areas, and so what is my best advice to you on when you get back to digital signing? You've seen the act, which was enacted in 2000, okay, and that was the global act. Here it is, let me look at here, the electronic signature. That's what they call it, the e-sign act. And anytime you go to a website or are asked to sign a document, first of all, find out, does that organization truly accept it in the way you're doing it? So for example, if you're using a GoDaddy or what a DocuSign or whatever service you're using, just make sure that that if you're going to do that, you can sign it a certain way. I know Adobe has it, and different carriers have the ability to do electronic signatures, and also provide scanned documents too. So that's another thing that's out there, not only in the digital world. So you can see obviously it's an issue, or there needs to be guidance when you have the SBA actually putting in one of the frequently asked questions for guidance for all of us. So if it's going to be in the questions, that means they're actually getting asked by the community of small businesses, so we can let people know, do scanned documents work, do e-signatures work, and how, and then with them pointing to the e-sign act, although it was 20 years ago, that is comfort and law, and that's what, it was a public law, that's what we need to be following. Okay, and then The IRS doing the same thing. When you file foreign documents, you have to use a certain platform to be able to be accepted. It's just something to be aware of if you're asked to digitally sign something in the future and submit it to a site or for approval for anything, then just consider that you might be using a certain platform that may or may not be acceptable by the organization that you're working with. So just something to be, and then I've introduced you to the e-sign act, and then also actually with the SBA, they gave you a little guidance on scanned documents. So I would say when you're dealing with your lender on the PPP loan, or when you're dealing with any financing, credit cards, you name it, is just understand that that digital signatures are being more and more accepted. And if the last thing you want to do is do it incorrectly, which might stall a process or not be valid. Okay, so you just basically, you can now know, does this, by signing it, is subject to the e-sign act, so all good there. Okay, all right. So every day, I would say that tomorrow, or what's going to happen the rest of this week, is going to be the interpretations of the executive orders that Donald Trump, our president, did on Saturday, and how they flow back and impact the small businesses, and how people are going to execute those executive orders. Probably the bigger is add to them. Those are going to be added to for sure, or modified on how to execute what was actually presented on Saturday. It was really light, meaning not a lot of guidance on Saturday. It was just, we signed, and really it's now up to the lawmakers, the Senate Republicans and Democrats, and then the White House with Stephen Mnuchin, to actually go in and say, this is exactly what we meant, and clarify, add to, subtract. So the rest of us, especially the states and in the unemployment, can then modify their systems to execute. Okay? So overall, e-sign act, June 30, 2000 was the document that the SBA pointed to for guidance on electronic signatures. Okay? Well, Mike Rasmussen, CPA, Straight Talk for Small Business, on August, and what do we got here? August 11th. So look forward to talking to you tomorrow. Have a great day, and I will see you then.